Hi, John Verway here. This segment is on brain use. Now, in the past, there was this myth that we use 10% of our brain, and now, in the present, there's the viewpoint that we use almost 100%. Pick the percentage you like for the argument you want to make. But what actually happens is that we humans have a tendency to go rapidly backwards in the illusion that we're going forwards. So, a good example, let's look at Aristotle, 500 years before Christ, and he's got the world convinced that the sun revolves around the earth to the extent that anybody who disagrees for the next 1700 years would be put in jail because, like Galileo, for example, put in jail because they disagreed with Aristotle, because they disagreed with the church, and they said the sun revolves around the earth, and they said, no, the earth revolves around the sun, and Galileo, house arrest for the rest of his life. Now, the point of this is that we humans, as much as we tend to think that we're progressing, are we progressing or are we going backwards? And I've touched on this on many different videos, the one about do we think for ourselves, for example. So do we use 10% of our brain? Do we use 100% of our brain? Do we use something in between or less? So one way to look at this is that everything that we're looking at in terms of brain development is from a physical aspect. So sure, we can measure all the activity, all the brain waves, all the neurons, everything. We can measure it all and say, look at this, we're using the whole thing. Like, this is just phenomenal. But then, if we're using our whole brain, then why is society as messed up as it is? Why are people working all week long to create a reality that they hate, that they have to use alcohol and drugs and TV and all these things to escape the reality? They can't be in their reality. That's how much they dislike the reality. And so how can we say that we're using our brains to the maximum capacity when we can't even figure out how to enjoy the reality that we're creating, or how to create a reality that we enjoy? So the point with brain function is it doesn't matter whether we're using 10% or 100%. What the reality is that we have only started to begin to understand what our brain is capable of. And the starting point of that is the natural thought process, which we've destroyed a long time ago. And we even to the extent where people have, I've touched on in another one of my videos, ADHD is a prime example of how backwards our world has become. The only remaining remnants of the natural thought process we're medicating to death. All the other kids that sit quietly in class, completely ignoring that we're supposed to be taking action following our heartfelt, inspired thoughts, is now considered normal. So as far as the brain goes, and as far as our understanding of the brain, the next 1,000 years is going to be a huge development for humanity, not speeding up the world, not speeding up how the world works, but actually speeding up how the use of our brain so that we actually live easier lives and are able to slow down. And that's the next 1,000 years. You can follow me if you like, and I would prefer that you follow your heart, follow your gut instinct, follow your spirit, and that will lead you to the truth. If you're interested in advanced workshops on human capability, on what's coming for our mind, how to start using your mind so that when you think about things like Netflix at 1.5 times speed, that's the natural direction. That's where humanity is heading the next 1,000 years, is we're able to understand things faster than we ever have been. And now with that capability, with that advanced capability of our brains, when you move that up to the next level, then you create an easy, better life. I look forward to seeing you in our workshops.